Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to War Thunder with Koala, and welcome to the dev server for update 1.97 Viking Fury. There is so much content coming for this update, including the Lightning F6 you see here, the F4E Phantom with flares, we've got new missiles, new tanks, new ships, an entire new line of Swedish ground vehicles which is actually extremely well fleshed out, and so many other new things that I'm very, very excited for. There's just one thing missing. Just a little... balance. That's going to be a problem with this update. So in today's video, what I want to do is just go through a lot of the content from the dev server and give a little bit of an overview, some opinions, and see what's what. Now, we've got so much to cover, so we're not going to be talking about everything today, but we will be covering what I personally am most excited for and some of the most major parts of the update, including obviously the entire new line of Swedish tanks. But what I'm most excited for out of 1.97 is definitely the aircraft. I think that's definitely a highlight of this patch, and I can't wait to see where this goes in future updates as well. So in today's video, we're going to start out with some of the new jets, go for some test flights, talk about their statistics, then have a look at some of the other types of vehicles, and then go over the new Swedish Ground Forces tech tree. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you to Air Models for sponsoring today's video. If you're interested in some fantastic quality die-cast aviation models, then go check out Air Models using the link in the video description. I've actually ordered from these lads myself, so I know the reliability and quality is great, and when they emailed me offering to sponsor the channel, you can bet I was like, hell yeah! They do worldwide shipping, various different sizes and scales, both standard and premium ranges, and a massive variety of aircraft which I know you're going to love. From Spitfires to Su-27s to B-52s to Sea Harriers, a range of civilian models, attack helicopters like the Apache or Tiger, and even the goddamn Mirage. Seriously, fuck you, you know who you are, stop spamming Mirage shit on my Discord. Make sure to use my link below to support the channel, thank you once again to Air Models, and now let's get into talking about all War Thunder's new content. So we're starting out with the Bach Lightning, and yes, this is the Bach Lightning. I know people like to say English Electric, and English Electric did make the original Lightning before they were absorbed by the British Air Corporation or Bach. They are the group who made the Lightning F6, which is the variant we have, which is a far upgraded model. We've got afterburners, we've got new missiles, including these red tops right here, which I'm very excited to try out. Over 2,000 kilometers an hour, or just Mach 2.1 at just under 40,000 feet altitude, and it looks like we're going to struggle to turn with these wings. God, look at this. Is it beautiful, or is it just a bit chunky? I mean, I know some people describe this as a pregnant MiG-21, and yeah, they're going to go have a lot of Hunters and MiG-15s. Anywho, let's keep this family friendly on this channel, please. Strange engine configuration, which is to deal with reducing drag on the aircraft so that it can rocket up to altitude. Of course, this was an interceptor designed to intercept the Tu-22 Blinder, the Soviet bomber. Now let's have a look at the statistics for these red tops, because these are a brand new type of missile. Let's see, 6 kilometer lock, 16G pole, and these are apparently rear aspect only, infrared guided heat-seeking missiles. Obviously, we still do not have any radar guided missiles, unfortunately. Now, rear aspect for these red tops isn't quite true, and I'm yet to test this out in War Thunder, but historically, they have the ability to lock onto a target even frontally, provided it is going at least close to the speed of sound, if not above it. So we'll have to see if that is actually represented in-game. I hope it is, and if not, that it is added in, hopefully before the patch goes live, which, by the way, I do not have any idea when that will be. But before the dev server closes, and I don't even get to record this video, let's get into a test flight with this thing and see exactly what it can do. Okay, so here we are. This should be one of the fastest accelerating and climbing aircraft in the entire game. So let's have a look. Just about to pass 900 kilometers an hour. There we go. Let's put her up into a... that's very, very fast. Unfortunately, no cockpit for this model yet. Hopefully that is there by the time the server goes live. My goodness, she climbs like a bat out of hell. We are not even losing speed right now. 870 kilometers an hour, and look how slowly that speed is decreasing. That is fantastic climb rate right there. That's faster than a MiG-21 SMT. That's faster than a Phantom. Yeah, this is very, very good. God, we were about to rip our wings off there. I don't want to do that just yet, but maybe we'll see what she's capable of in a couple of minutes. Fantastic looking aircraft, bit strange. definitely a pregnant MiG-21, especially with that nose cone. Very, very signature. I'm very much excited to play this thing. Oh, decent turn rate, actually, especially at that kind of high speed. That's going to be very useful for dodging missiles. Unfortunately, this model does not have flares, which, yes, we have flares in the game now for fixed-wing aircraft, not just our helicopters. And that I am very, very excited to show you and to try out in some gameplay. Let's not rip our wings off right here. We have air brakes? Yes. Nice. They're not exactly the largest things in the world. But still, they slowed us down nice and quickly. Let's go chase down this MiG-15 before we run out of fuel. I did take the minimum fuel load for this test flight. A couple of 30mm Aiden cannons on the front. Yeah, just underneath there. Ah, you can see that's like a little pod underneath. Yeah, there they are, situated right up in there. And that looks like a fuel tank behind them as well. Okay, so we're approaching this MiG-15. 1 minute of fuel left. Let's see. Wow, that is a hell of a locking tolerance. Oh, whoops. I pressed the wrong key there. Nice going, Koala. Right, so let's lead the target a little bit. I know he's going to turn off that way, and he should be dead right here. Perfect. Ooh, new sound effects. And there's that new visual effect as well. I know the ground versus... ground vehicles have a new fire effect, and a lot of new sound effects. That definitely sounded really good, and apparently it has been added that if something detonates or a sound effect happens quite far away from you, like you destroy a tank, you will actually hear a delay before that sound reaches you, which is really, really cool. It's something I wish Gaijin would have added a long time ago. I've been hoping for, and fantastic to see that. We're just about to run out of fuel, and it doesn't look like we are going to rip our wings off in a straight line, so doesn't look like you really have to worry about that much. Now, will she rip them off in a turn? 12 Gs. No, it doesn't look like it. So very robust aircraft, which is good to see. Definitely not like the Saab Draken. That thing loves to rip itself to pieces as soon as you push it even slightly. I've been wanting this for a long time. Gaijin actually told me it wasn't likely for the next few updates because the FGR2 was considered a better option because it has a lot more usability for ground forces. This right here is purely an interceptor. Does look like it's going to have some dogfighting capabilities, but definitely not with the likes of a MiG-21 or a Saab Draken, or even a G91Y or anything like that. Alright, so if you go into options here, and under your sound settings, you can see speed of sound. That's what you want to turn on, and that will have a bit of a delay between sounds that occur miles away from you, like a bomb drop or a tank firing, and there will actually be a delay before the sound reaches you, because obviously light travels a lot faster than sound, and that is something I've wanted to see Gaijin do. They said it would be too confusing for players, and that was why they didn't want to do it, but now they've gotten around that by giving us an option to turn it on or off, which is fantastic, and it's a cool feature that I've wanted to see in the game for a long time, and I'm glad we finally have it, along with a whole bunch of new sound effects, and this! The F4E Phantom 2. Now, I was not expecting this, because Gaijin said specifically that they would not be extending top tier this update. Now, it turns out what they meant by that is that we wouldn't get a tier 7 for aircraft or a new tier for helicopters or anything like that, but we are getting some slightly more powerful vehicles, nothing like an F-14 or anything like that, a MiG-21 BIS, and yes, there is no Mirage. Stop going on about it. But yes, this is the F4E variant of the Phantom, upgraded Air Force variant after the F4C in the tech tree. By the way, I didn't show it, but the Bark Lightning and the British tech tree will be coming after the Javelin, so if you haven't grounded out this line, then make sure you do so, and I think that kind of makes a lot of sense. The F4E will of course come after the F4C, and if you check out the difference in the look, particularly the F4C right there, and you can see the nose, and now have a look at the F4E. Much, much longer, because this is actually from the photo reconnaissance variant of the Phantom, I believe. So that's why it has a different nose cone, and that was necessary to fit the 20mm Vulcan into the aircraft. So besides that, it has some new engines, making it a little bit faster. These new missiles, which are AIM-9Js, they are basically the equivalent to R-60s, but with a slightly better tracking, so they will actually follow a target more reliably, but only slightly, and also flares. As you can see under here, just under the wings here, or behind the missiles, we have these little flare dispensers. We have a massive variety of ordnance to carry on this variant. I mean, wow, this is gonna be pretty insane. No, that's AIM-9Es. We don't want to use those peasant missiles. And we also have 2,000-pound bombs. 3 of them. This is going to make things go boom. We also have bullpups, it seems. Now, can we carry bullpups with the missiles? It doesn't look like it. No, unfortunately not. So I'm assuming, yes, they do go... that was a bit weird. They do go where the missiles go, under these same pylons, so you can't carry missiles and bullpups at the same time, which means I doubt people are really going to use these things in tank battles, maybe in some custom battles or different scenarios where you might want them, but I think mainly people are going to go with an ordnance loadout. Like this. Oh my goodness. So where the previous Phantom had its centerline hardpoints taken up by that 20mm gun pod, this variant actually frees those hardpoints up to be able to use for ordnance. That means it can carry an awful lot and still have access to an offensive gun. We obviously don't get missiles with this loadout, but if we just head back into here, we really need a new way of sorting out this ordnance selector, but I think this is going to be people's... No, maybe this one. It's going to be people's main loadout for tank battles. That looks pretty dangerous right there. Little bit faster, this model, although not by a huge degree. Very large nose section there, but of course that's where our Vulcan cannon is. Now, as you can see, the crosshair is still slightly below where my aircraft is aiming, which I don't believe that's historical, and I think that should probably be removed. But as you can see, finally we have a Phantom with a gun that actually aims in the same direction as where you're pointing the aircraft. Wow, nice and maneuverable there. Let's not rip those wings off. Now, one thing we do not get this update... Let me just turn off that afterburner so I can actually hear myself think. New era-appropriate carriers. As you can see, we still have our Lexington over there. Ah, that's better. I can actually hear now. We do not have new carrier models in-game just yet. Gaijin is working on them, but unfortunately they can't give us any information just yet. They should hopefully make it into the game in the next couple of patches. Right, let's test out these AIM-9Js. Now, that locking reticle looks extremely similar to the AIM-9Es. Alright, so in testing these things out, I want them to actually have to perform a bit of a turn. These should have basically the same... Well, they have the same overload as the R60s that the MiG-21 have. So let's see if you can make that... Oh, look at it go! And easy. Easy peasy. Of course, I think the main thing we're excited for on this variant of the Phantom is having access to flares. So let's turn the engines off so I can actually hear. And this is going to be very, very helpful. So let's say there's an enemy plane behind me by a few kilometers. He launches a missile, we see it, and... Beautiful! We finally have flares to use for missile decoys. And what's the next patch? Gaijin will add radar-guided missiles and they'll be useless anyway. No, these are still going to be very, very effective, because I think infrared missiles are still going to be people's main weaponry, and it is very, very nice to see these. Now, the F-4E didn't actually get flares with the US Air Force until long after the Vietnam War. The US didn't really use flares on their fighters until after Vietnam, and before you ask, I don't actually believe the FGR-2 used them at all. It may have much later in its life, so we may see them added to it in-game. It certainly has the capability of using them. The US Navy really pioneered the use of flares on fighters. The US Air Force used them for their bombers, and then only really picked them up for common use on fighter aircraft when it came to something like the F-15 Eagle, which is a long way off for us. And there goes. So we don't have an infinite amount of them, obviously. You're going to have to be a wee bit conservative with them. But it's going to be very, very useful if someone locks you up, especially in something like a Phantom, which is a lot bigger, heavier than a MiG-21, a Lightning, or a Draken, and yeah, very big, very heavy. Oh dear. Okay, so next up is the A4 Skyhawk. Now, this is a new ground attack platform for America. Not really a top-end performing aircraft, definitely subsonic by a long way, 1,090 kilometers per hour top speed, so kind of in the neighborhood of a MiG-15. And this is a Vietnam-era ground attack platform that was used heavily throughout the Vietnam War. A lot of different ordnance options for this thing. Wow, that is absolutely insane. Including missiles for self-defense, only AIM-9Bs, no AIM-9Es. Gun pods, which contain an extra 3 guns. Let's crew this thing up, actually. I have gone ahead and speeded this, and wow, I imagine this thing being extremely heavy. I don't really recommend using this. I don't really recommend using this aircraft in RRB, but of course you're going to need to use it a little bit if you want to actually grind out the ordnance for it, which is a little bit strange. As you can see, we have bullpups as well. This is going to be an armament I'm going to use quite a bit, but I think the main one people are going to be using is these 5 1,000-pound bombs. This is definitely going to be the easiest armament to use to get kills with in ground battles, and we also have things like rockets, Zuni rockets, along with bombs. Let's see. All very kind of standard armaments here. This looks very interesting. This is kind of an armament I think I'm going to see a lot of. Just go in there, drop the bomb, maybe kill a helicopter or two, but of course we are battle rating 8.7, and I kind of feel like that's where this thing should stay. Of course, being on the dev server... Oh my goodness, I haven't said it yet. But everything is subject to change, so keep that in mind. This is kind of what I feel like I'm going to use most of. It kind of gives you the most versatility, where you get more than one bomb drop, although the A-Force should definitely have the ability to drop its bombs one at a time, but then so should the AD-4 Skyraider. And that's kind of actually, while we're on that subject, what I think this is going to be if you take out gun pods with it. Just an absolute meme machine trying to turn fight with jets that it probably shouldn't be able to get away with turn fighting. You do get 2 of these cannons on the off, and then 3 more in these pods, so with a 5 total. And what's that boss mass? Oh dear. Okay, now this aircraft doesn't have an afterburner. Honestly, I'm not sure why we didn't have this thing like 6 months ago. Oh, hell, a year ago, when patch 1.85 came out. We could definitely have had this aircraft with some missiles and these bombs, bullpups and the like. There's really nothing exceptionally incredible about this aircraft. Could definitely have come at 9.0 back then, along with the Sabres, the MiG-15 Bess, and things like that. Not exactly a hugely capable platform. It's basically just designed to carry a lot of ordnance, and given what we have in the game these days, like Phantoms and the like, it doesn't even carry a particularly amazing amount of ordnance. Still, it is a nice low battle rating, comparatively. 8.7 still rather high, but it is definitely where I think this aircraft should sit. Let's see if we get that little sound delay now when we drop these bombs. Let's drop them, get the hell out of here. That was actually a pretty decent drop. Hey, there we go, we actually did get it, check that out. So we drop the bombs, we see them explode, and then a second later, we actually get the sounds. That's really, really cool, I really like that. Use some combat flaps, so we could turn a wee bit more sharply than this. Blimey. Now this is a naval aircraft, so I think it's high time we got some more era-appropriate carriers now, Gaijin. Hopefully they will come in the next couple of patches. Let's drop them on the T-55. Yeah, that's really, really cool. Oh, I love these little tidbits that we get in updates like this. It's not just the new vehicles we get, but cool stuff like that really makes these updates stand out. So not a fast aircraft, pretty nimble aircraft in the roll. You can see our landing hook there. Doesn't turn particularly well, although of course you shouldn't really expect it to because it's not a fighter, as much as Gaijin might like to tell you it is. There you go, there you have it, that's the A-Force Skyhawk. Not exactly the most capable airframe we've got in game so far, carries a decent amount of ordnance, although to be perfectly frank, I'd still rather have the VMF-232 with the AGM-12 bullpups. And you get 5 of them, so I love the A4 Skyhawk. I hope we get a later variant with some later ordnance options or an A6 Intruder later down the line. A10 Warthog is still quite far away, lads. It's not the speed or the weaponry or the performance of that thing that matters. It is its technology and its armament, so don't be asking for that thing anytime soon. It might be slow and sluggish. It's still too powerful for us. So we have this thing now. Oh my goodness. This is definitely going to sit at battle rating 10.3 on the live server. 10.0 right now. To be perfectly honest, 10.3 is still too low for it. This is the KA-52 Alligator. An upgraded form of the K-50 Black Shark, so finally this thing isn't the most cancerous thing in the game. Not because they fixed it, but because they overshadowed it with the KA-52. Basically, it's a twin-seater, upgraded variant, more hardpoints, more weaponry, and thermal imaging systems, which means this thing is going to find you, and it is going to fuck you. Weird-looking nose right there. Looks like a bit of a duck. But I do like this camo for the KA-52. I'm not sure I'm okay with this thing being added, but I don't think I'm going to boycott it like I did with the K50, because at least it's not premium. That does mean that more people are likely to be playing it, but at the same time, at least you're not putting this kind of power behind a paywall. Not that it should be in the game at all in the first place. Now, obviously we have our infrared countermeasures, flares, and all that kind of thing. Viking missiles, and our current armament, and this is the most advanced armament this thing gets. 4 Igla air-to-air missiles, those are the infrared missiles from the Mi-35. 12 Viking missiles, and, yeah, we're not done yet for the K-52, because this thing has 2 extra hardpoints. As well as S-13DF rockets, which I was testing these things out earlier, and these things bring the pain. Okay, so now, like the K-50, it should take off nice and quickly, nice and easily, put the gear up. Not quite as much, although I assume that's because this variant is a lot heavier. The K-50 just kind of zooms off the ground and right into the battlefield. Same ridiculous range on our missiles. We could head back that way another 7 kilometers and still be in range of these ground vehicles. Really nice looking helicopter. Unfortunately, it shouldn't really be in the game at all. Okay, so let's lock onto this, what is that, Abrams? Yep. Lock him up. There we go. Fire off a Vicker. Let's aim it a little bit up there for the turret cheek. Wow. Straight through. I didn't really play the K-50. I mean, I didn't play the K-50 outside of the dev server. And, yeah. This thing is powerful. Whoa, 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 what are you doing there? Little bit difficult to fly. Definitely not as good as the magics on the French helicopters, but there we go. Fire that one off, and yeah, he's definitely dead. There's nothing he's going to do that's going to avoid that. Unless it hits the mountain. Huh. No, looks like it just got a trailing hit on him there. Let's see, can we get him this time? But of course, mostly this is a K-50, which is just twin-seater. There he goes. And with thermal optics, which makes it just all the more cancerous to use from 10 kilometers back. And flares. Still, it's a shame because I do really like this helicopter. Quite a fast helicopter, only just getting that reduced speed, and we are at, well over 300 kilometers per hour. Oh my goodness, these rockets are very, very powerful. And there's that delay with the sound as well. Whoa, actually I just remembered this thing is a lot more difficult to fly than other helicopters, particularly the American ones. I'm kind of used to playing both Cobras and Tigers. So this thing is... Ooh. Oh my goodness. And this is a weapon system you can actually risk getting in close enough to use, because of course you've got your Vickers, take out the AAs, I mean... Lead him a little bit. Boom. Yeah, the only thing that's going to be able to deal with this is the ADATs, and unlike the KA-50, loads of people are going to have these things. Including me, because to be honest, you're kind of crazy if you're not using this. If you're playing your T-80Us, hopefully at some point a T-90A, and you're not supporting them with a K-52 Alligator. Yeah, there we go, I got there in the end. Then to be honest, you're missing out. I don't think this is a good idea. I mean, the K-50 was bad enough. This thing has thermals and extra hard points for extra weapons. Thank goodness it does not carry even more Vickers or even more Iglas. But these rockets it carries with it are also very, very powerful. Expect a lot of complaints about this thing, that's all I can say. So much to see, so little time, mate. Let's take a look at the T-72B. Now this is basically... this is the poor man's T-90. And this is the model year 1985 model of the T-72B. It has Contact 1 explosive reactive armor, not the Contact 5, which the T-80U has. My goodness, this is going to be a nice, fun tank to play, though. Now, according to Gadget, this thing's got a lot better armor, and it should certainly have better armor than we've seen before, much better than the T-72A. Maybe that's a bug. That seems a little bit low, to be honest. 3BM22. Now let's see. Wow, you get 3BM42 as well. That's a little bit strange. I would have thought they'd like to save that round for the T-72B mod 1989, which has Contact 5 explosive reactive armor. Seems like they'd kind of want to save it for them. But let's try out with heat. This thing should have... Okay, that's definitely a bug. Armor is not finalized yet, apparently, because this thing should have a lot more than 260mm of effectiveness against heat. In fact, the ERA alone should provide about 370mm heat effectiveness. What about on the hull? That's very disappointing. Not finished yet. Dev server shenanigans, guys, but yeah, this is basically the poor man's T-90, and hopefully, eventually, we will get a T-90A. That will be a really, really nice tank for Russia to have, especially if it gets some new ammunition. Oh, that excites me, but not yet. Oh, and I didn't even show off the Ka-29. This I'm actually slightly more excited about than the K-50, because it looks... That looks ridiculous. Looks like someone punched a duck in the face. But this is actually quite cool. This is a variant of the Ka-27 naval helicopter, which sits aboard all Russia's Kiev class and all of their cruisers and Admiral Kuznetsov and things like that. Well, this is the Ka-29, which is basically an attack helicopter and transport-capable version of the Ka-27. As for ordnance, we're looking at some pretty standard... stock standard ordnance for Russian helicopters. I am very surprised that it sits as high as 9.7, and I doubt that is going to stay like that on the live server. I think this is more likely a 9.0 to 9.3 capable helicopter. But it is kind of nice. I'm surprised it comes after the Mi-24P as well, so perhaps it will stay there, or maybe it will get put down after the Mi-24A. The arrow will kind of come out from here and down here. And yeah, interesting helicopter, very strange looking helicopter, one that I'm actually kind of excited to use. Hopefully it gets a lower battle rating so I can use it with a lower tank lineup. France also gets a couple of foreign tanks lower down in the tech tree. We have the M4A3-105 at battle rating 3.0, which I believe the American one sits at 2.7, so that's a bit strange. Why do you sit at a different battle rating? Let's check the French one. You don't have a APDS round or something, do you? Nope. Same rounds, so I assume that's just dev server issues. We also have the M3A3 Stuart and the Crusader. France gets a Crusader, I heard on the Discord, and I thought, oh my goodness, they're adding the F8 Crusader. And then I looked at the screenshot. It's the tank. Actual fucking bruh moment right there. Moving swiftly on, for Britain, we get the Roycat 105 Premium, which is essentially the Roycat Mark 1D or Roycat 76, which I played out in a live gameplay video a few days ago. this is the same vehicle. We get thermals and we get a 120mm gun. Sorry, 105mm gun, not 120. With the M23, 337mm of penetration. So quite a bit less than the Centauro Romore and the Type 16. But at the same time, I feel like 8.7 is very, very low for this vehicle. I feel like 9.3 would still be good for it. Even though it does have less penetration, it does also have more speed. Although it will be a lot slower to accelerate to that speed than the Rycat 76, meaning that it might never actually be able to hit it because it will take it longer to get to build up that speed. What's next? Well, we have a few new ships. We have HMS Kent, which is a county-class heavy cruiser. The Americans have USS Portland, which is essentially a slight variation on the Pensacola. I wouldn't necessarily call it better because it actually has one less main caliber gun. Germany also has the Leipzig, which is something I expected to come quite a while ago. This is essentially just another Nürnberg. Russia gets the Sverdlov class, which is essentially just another Chapayev in the same way that Leipzig is just another Nürnberg. We also get Nostroshimi, a premium destroyer. Does Japan get? Yes, Japan gets the Mikuma premium destroyer? Cruiser. So I guess now it's time we get on to talking about the Swedish ground forces, and unfortunately none of these tanks have images yet, but we have a very well fleshed out tech tree, which is fantastic to see. Unlike China, which upon release was missing AA vehicles, we didn't have these top tier ground vehicles, but Sweden has a very nicely fleshed out tech tree. We have an AA line here, we have what looks like a tank destroyer line, IKVs, I know them from World of Tanks. Speaking of which, we're not done referencing World of Tanks yet. What on earth is that gun breach? That is disgusting. Get that out of my game. We are just going to have a flick through some of these. M40L light tank. Yeah, this is basically what I expected from the Swedish ground forces tree. And of course, an AA line here. Let's see what this 1.3 AA vehicle is. Oh my god, what is that? It looks like a tank that just nobody bothered finishing building. That's interesting. I wonder what the fire rate is on that gun. 360 shots per minute. Jesus Christ, that's actually quite good. Oh, sweet Christmas. Not a lot of elevation, though, for an AA gun. Not a lot at all. Now let's go find something interesting. The IKV-103, this is something I'm looking forward to. Yeah, this... Anyone who's played World of Tanks will know all about this thing. You see them all the time. See the Delat Horn. I apologise for probably pronouncing that very, very wrong. Ah, this is that weird thing that we saw on the dev server livestream, is it? No, this isn't the one. Stridsvan 81 we get in the tech tree, it looks like, which is very, very good. Oh, you're missing the missiles that the British Stridsvan has. I wonder if that's a dev server thing or if the Swedish one won't get them. I can't see that that would make a lot of sense, though. Nice camouflages as well. Well done, Sweden, for making some nice looking tanks. Of course, expect the Swedish tree to have a lot of Bofors guns. Wow, this looks like an M247, except not a complete and utter failure. Oh, UDES. Now that's interesting. A UDES 33. Oh my god, what is that? Little baby tank. I've got to test drive this thing because I've got to see exactly how far the dude pokes out the top. What a ridiculous looking vehicle. Look at that. That's disgusting. Mouse aimed HEGM. Not the quickest reload, and you only get 10 shots. That might be a problem. This might be not the easiest vehicle to use. I'll have to have a look at the penetration of the missile. Enough. Its penetration value is enough. 430mm penetration, a battle rating 7.7. That seems quite high. Of course, as always, battle ratings aren't final. Have a look at the M43. Now, I know this thing. Yeah, quite a strange looking vehicle, that one. A lot of these interesting looking tank destroyers. This is a 1946. This is a 1963. 75mm gun, battle rating 6.3 on the dev server. 1963 with a 75mm with a 13-second reload. That seems very lackluster for the 1960s. Of course, you know, the M60, the T55, the T62. This seems quite poor for a tank destroyer, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Which is, of course, why it sets a battle rating 6.3 in-game. Stridsvagn M42. Now, this is the tank I think we all knew was coming. This is kind of a very signature Swedish tank, 75mm. 7.5 second reload, base reload that is. That standard kind of Swedish look. This look right here, especially this back here, this rounded hull and the spare running wheels in the back of the turret, that's a very signature Swedish tank thing that you see in a lot of their designs. What is this? Oh, yeah, I know what this thing is. This is the... Now, my partner Monica looked at this and said, why does it have tits? These are rocket launchers. Basically think what you have on the Cromwell RP3. These aren't ATGMs or for example, the BM8. Oof. Nope, just missed that. Oh, not by much, actually. Oh, there we go. Nice. So very, very easy to aim. Nice high-velocity rockets. On a four-wheeled armoured car that looks incredibly small. Ah, still a two-man crew, though, so it's not quite as small as the L333 in the Italian tech tree. We also have a couple of new models of the Stridsvagn 103. Of course, I think we all saw this coming, including the beautiful Stridsvagn 103C, which, my god, do I love the look of this tank. Look at that. And once you get used to the whole aiming mode, the Stridsvagn 103s are actually quite nice vehicles to play. Still 8.7 battle rating, that is quite high. Nice APFSDS, 330mm penetration, that seems quite low. When was this vehicle made? I can't remember off by heart. That's not a whole lot of penetration. Of course, this is a 105mm gun, but I would have expected a little bit more than that. Still, I guess if it got higher penetration, it would have been a higher battle rating, but this is going to be a difficult thing to get used to, but once you do, it's going to be good. One thing I am worried about, though, of course, the top tier tank, the Stridsvagn 121, which is essentially just a Leopard 2. An early Leopard 2, no arrowhead turret, no Stridsvagn 122 just yet, because that would be hilariously broken if we got that at the moment. One thing I'm worried about with the Italian tanks, and I've got to admit, I'm not hugely excited for the Italian ground forces tree, and the reason is, I think they're going to be a little bit of an issue of power creep. 497mm, that seems quite high for Leopard 2. Is this a Swedish armor value? Might be. Very low armor hull, obviously. And let's try it out against the heat. But they seem like the lower tier tanks. Yeah, that's about what we recognise from the standard Leopard 2 in the German tree. Leopard 2A4. I'm assuming it has some new Swedish armor. It might not do. I can't remember if the 121 got a Swedish armor array. I know the Stridsvagn 122, which is based on the Leopard 2A5, does have its own domestically designed composite armor to go in the tank. I do not know if the 121 does. Someone will have to let me know in the comments. But these lower tier vehicles. Here's the Lego. The Lago 1. Which has a 37mm APDS with only just over 105mm, or only just over 100mm penetration, sorry, 105, at battle rating 2.7. APDS in rank 2. I mean, this isn't an insane amount of penetration by any means, but it's kind of the equivalent to an APCR round you'd expect at battle rating, whatever this thing ends up at on the live server, but a rank 2 vehicle. But APCR has drawbacks. It has extremely terrible, you know, ricocheting and overmatching qualities. It has a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to use it, even though it does have higher penetration. APDS doesn't really have those same drawbacks. Now, of course, we don't have the APDS shell. I didn't bother spading the vehicle. This is a fast reload, though. My goodness. But still, it's a lot of penetration for the tier and the battle rating. without all the drawbacks that come with using APCR shells. So I'm kind of on the fence about this. Now, I don't know if it would really suit for the tank to go higher, because it isn't a lot of penetration. It's not like the British APDS shells that start coming in rank 3 and 4. But a lot of these tanks have a lot of penetration. Oh my goodness. And this is that one we saw on the dev server with the recoilless rifle. This is not a standard gun. That is disgusting, actually. Does anybody else read that shell name as Sloppy J? Because I do. 240mm heat shell. What are you? 105. So is this an artillery piece? No, this is a tank destroyer. 105mm gun with a 240mm penetrating heat shell, and yet their 1963 tank destroyer. What happened to Sweden in the 1960s? This vehicle is not... doesn't seem like a 60s vehicle. I don't know what it is, but I kind of expect that a 60s vehicle would be more impressive than that. Of course, we have... let's check out the AKV-91 first. Wow, that's a very, very futuristic looking vehicle, or more modern kind of looking vehicle. 90mm Bofors gun, what do you have? Do you have APFSDS? No, you don't. Heat FS, 400mm heat, nice. Once again, a 75mm gun with a 13-second reload. Perhaps that is just dev server shenanigans, but if it has 75mm with that length reload, that's going to be a bit difficult to use. Now this thing, what is this? Ah yes, this is the AA version of the Stridsvorden 90, or the CV90. And of course we have a couple of variants over in the light tank line. This is an interesting vehicle. Essentially it is... think a Type 89 without the missiles. But it should have some decent armor. 100mm on the front plate there. That's quite strange for a vehicle like this. 50mm on the turret, and 35mm on the upper hull. This is a lot of armor for a vehicle of this kind of type. And essentially what this is going to be an anti-Bradley, Big Light Panzer, Warrior, BMP, those kinds of things. But this isn't the only version of the CV90 we're going to get. This is kind of the quintessential variant of the vehicle. Not enough penetration to get through a T-62, apparently. Oh. These gun sounds are fantastic now. And as you can see, the new fire over there, I don't think I showed you that in much detail earlier, but that fire effect is very, very nice. Now, with the side... wow. Let's see, what about a regular old T-62? Oh, it is penetrating. Ooh, nice. A little bit further range. Oh my goodness. Wow. Wow. And that fire rate is of course going to be the main kind of reason you play this vehicle. Now for a premium we have the CV90 105. Now this is basically a TAM. It looks kind of like the AMX-10 RC turret plopped onto a CV90 hull, and this is definitely going to be kind of an equivalent to the TAM. The M23 for the 105mm gun, 337mm penetration, thermal optics. Kind of, I guess this is Sweden's equivalent to the premium MBTs, even though it's not an MBT. Actually, let's not test drive the CV90 105. Let's try out this version, which is the CV90 120. And I've gone ahead and put this urban camouflage on. Cryptanko, who's part of Gaijin's content creation partnership program, said that this right here looks like a pawn from chess that someone slapped onto the board. And I hate you, man, because I'm never going to unsee that. Interesting looking tank. This gun has a hell of a velocity to it. Now, DM23, 410mm pen, 1640 meters per second muzzle velocity. Out of a light tank like this, that is absolutely insane. But we're not going to test drive this thing in the regular test drive map. we're going to take this into the new Sweden map. Wow, the M33 on a 9.7 light tank. That's very, very powerful. And this is a nice speedy vehicle. Certainly not main battle tank fast. What is its top speed? 70 kilometers per hour, but we are going to struggle to hit that. But this map, though, those graphics, please load in. Does anybody look at this map and immediately think World of Tanks, Himmelsdorf? My goodness, this is a good-looking map, but a lot of Gaijin's maps these days are very, very good-looking. But for an urban map, this is nice and open. It's nothing like Italy, where you can just be shot from any direction and you kind of can manage your angles of approach properly because the map is, to be honest, poorly designed. But this map is very, very beautiful and actually looks like it's going to be a lot more fun to play on. Nice open spaces like this around Bravo, or leading into Bravo, which is down that direction. Oh! Ho, ho, ho. Oh, this gun. But one thing I worry about with Gaijin's urban maps is that they are very, very cluttered. Oh, what's this here? Can we shoot through that? Looks... Oh, no, we can't. So that's a barrier there. And I did see, I believe, when I was driving around earlier, a little bit of lag right there, there are some barriers around this map that prevent you from taking certain streets and moving in certain ways. So they kind of trip you up if you think you're going to race into a capture point and all of a sudden you have to go around the entire block because you can't actually get through the way you planned. You may very well have to think of a timing issue about getting around this map. But I worry about Gaijin's urban maps because I don't know what it is, but Gaijin's map designers seem completely allergic to hills. They do not like adding elevation into their maps, which is something I really find to be a problem, especially with vehicles that are designed to go hull down. But no, Gaijin's maps seem to be very, very flat, and this is definitely very flat for the most part. As you can see, we have a little bit of elevation, but not really anything to the level that I would expect from a map like Ash River, Carpathians, Karelia, and those kinds of maps. Those original maps. I don't know what it is about Gaijin's map design team for the last couple of updates, but they really do not like adding... God, that aiming glitch is really getting me. They really don't like adding elevation into their maps. But this map does actually look like it's at least nice and open. It's not like Alaska or Sweden where you can just be attacked from anywhere and you can't really manage it properly. This vehicle I'm definitely most excited to play out the Swedish Ground Forces tech tree. Oh! And it is very, very powerful. Oh, that's a bit of a problem. We see these trees are kind of blinking into existence here. Looks like that might need to be sorted out before live patch release. That's going to be very, very annoying if it's not. But I bet people are going to enjoy using helicopters in this map. And I have no idea what Sweden could get for helicopters. I have absolutely no clue what attack helicopters Sweden uses or ever used. But they're going to be interesting to use on this map. I actually am really excited to play this map. It looks fantastic. It looks like it won't have a lot of the gameplay issues that Alaska and Italy have had. So hopefully Gaijin has kind of learnt their lesson as far as map design and they're starting to improve things. Quite an extensive urban map as well. Quite like Cargo Port. It might be a close quarters map. Well, reasonably close. As you can see, we've got some nice distances here. Wow, the muzzle velocity of this gun. That is absolutely insane. Nice thermals. Very good quality thermals. Look at the detail. Usually, these kind of earlier tier thermal optics are quite pixelated and blurry. Which is a historical thing. But this is very, very high quality. And of course, this is a very, very modern Swedish vehicle. Late 90s, I believe. This variant was produced. Little bit of a graphics issue there, it looks like. Oh, those sound effects. Yeah, a decent urban map that I'll be really excited to play on in the regular live patch release. I still think this is just War Thunder does Himmelsdorf, though. But this is going to be my favourite part of the update. Hands down, this is what I'm most excited for. The Saab J35D Draken. What a gorgeous, gorgeous aircraft. Look at this thing. I didn't know we'd get this yet, and one of the reasons is because I kind of assumed it would have some more capable missiles than these standard RB-24s that the Lansen has. This plane has some pretty insane maneuverability. And I can only really show you this in a test flight, so whilst we talk about these things, I'm going to jump into a test flight. I know the J-35 did carry more advanced missiles than this. In fact, I believe it even carried AIM-9Ps, which are basically... That was very loud, thank you for that, Gaijin. This model does have a cockpit, but anyway, missiles. AIM-9Ps are basically the same missiles the FA-18 Super Hornet used. And they're like one level before the AIM-9X. And I believe the Draken did use them. Someone said that. I might be thinking of the wrong variant of the AIM-9. It might have been earlier AIM-9, AIM-9Ls or something like that. AIM-9Ms, perhaps. But I know it did use later missiles than this. However, at the same time, I am kind of glad we've got this aircraft now. And also, interestingly enough, this thing does not have flaps. Decent acceleration, not, you know, F4 Phantom or Bach Lightning level fast, or MiG-21 level acceleration. Can we get the gear up, please? There we go. Pressed the wrong button there. I'm so used to pressing a button to get the landing or takeoff flaps in, and we don't have any. But this maneuverability is going to be pretty insane. I don't know if it actually goes Mach 2. Wikipedia says it does, but of course Wikipedia is as Wikipedia does, so I'm not entirely sure that's a trustworthy source. These missiles have, what, a 10G overload? They are your standard... Oh, there he goes. I thought we missed there for a second. Oh, and there we go. Wow, that maneuverability, though. Boom. 15 Gs right there. Just casually. My goodness, this makes a MiG-21's turning circle look like that of a bus. Oh my god. We also have two 30mm cannons. Wow, 14 Gs just that easily. And this thing will rip its wings very, very, very easily. You have to be really careful about that. 17 Gs. Oh, and there she goes. And now she's just going to flip over. Oh my goodness. Nice cockpit. Our Swedish pilot's getting his little jiggle on right here. No flares on this model. No, you know, really super advanced air-to-air missiles like the AIM-9Js or the R-60s. Perhaps we will get a later variant of the Draken in future, or the Sub-Viking. There's always the possibility of the Sub-37 Viking to come in the next patch or two. But this right now is looking like it's going to be very, very fun. Until that happens. Oh, straight off. And then she just flips around in midair. So I'm kind of thinking this will be a 9.7 or 10.0 on the live server, sorry. 10.3 is a bit strange, but she should definitely be performing a lot better, a lot faster, mainly. That turning rate is absolutely insane, and it's going to make it very, very fun to use, but you are going to have to be insanely careful with your maneuvers, because you are going to rip the wings off of this thing very, very easily. No flares, unfortunately. I am very, very excited to use the F4E with its flares. Don't even have the F4E in a crew slot right now. But this and the Draken have pretty much overshadowed the Lightning as what I was most excited for from this update, which I'm kind of upset about, because the Lightning was... Oh, I've been waiting for that for so long, and now it's here, and I could scarcely care less. Gear up. No flaps. See, I pressed the F key to retract the flaps, and there aren't any. I'm going to have to get used to that, and also not having them in low-speed combat. But I suppose you shouldn't really be getting into low-speed combat in this aircraft. That's not going to track, is it? No. Okay, so this is a lot faster than the stat card showed.
Already a lot faster. And there's the reduced speed. Let's see how quickly she climbs. Let's put it into a 50-degree climb, actually. See if she can climb like an F4. Oh my god, she does as well. Absolutely gorgeous. Oh, look at that. She looks like a space shuttle, for God's sake. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to play this thing in game. But a very interesting style of aircraft for us to get. You know, not one of these super modern vehicles with super modern systems. We've had a look at the new jets, we've had a look at the new ground vehicles, the Ka-52, the new ships, briefly, the new effects. What else? My goodness, this is a large update. New map, new systems. I haven't even checked the new UI because I know there is a new interface menu and I do not even know how to access it. That was the wrong button. Whoops. Hold on, Koala. We're still going above the speed of sound. What do I even care? What a beautiful, beautiful aircraft. So the stat card for this aircraft is clearly not accurate to the actual performance it's capable of. Which I'm glad to see, because if this thing was only capable of just over 1100 kilometers an hour, I would not enjoy it nearly as much. This is definitely what I'm most excited for out of the update. Anyway, as we accelerate past Mach 1.3 just there at 30,000 feet, I'm going to say that's going to be it for this video. My goodness, it's been a long one, so if you are still around, thank you very much for watching. Once again, thank you to Air Models for sponsoring the channel and for sponsoring this video and supporting me. And I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't. We are just about to hit 50,000 subscribers, at which point I will be doing a fantastic giveaway for you guys. Still not sure what we're going to be giving away, but I'll let you know on the Discord. Speaking of which, come join my social media, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, and check out Patreon, or hit the join button here on YouTube if you would like to support the channel further. Thank you lads so much for watching, have a lovely good day, and always remember, keep your bagpipes in one hand, the whiskey in the other, keep your kilt on, and I'll catch you next time. I say a wee thank you to these lads for supporting me on Patreon. Mo, Bias Remover, Rosekill, Metallic Green, Church, Crescent, Captain Fubar, The Britlander, Seagull Nuts, The8261, Latvian Wolf, Gisliga Darson, and Dark Recon. You lads are bro. Want to join them? Come check out Patreon at the link in the description below.